Steinhouse, and welcome to Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is a politically charged stock market pre-show giving you the politics of the day and the biggest moves in the stock market. It is presented with comedic common sense and just the right amount of sarcasm by an expert in financial literacy. And hey, that's me, Larry Steinhouse. Today is Wednesday, June 29th, and I want to welcome you to the show. We are here live on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia, and we are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. All right. You can also find me, of course, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Truth Social, TikTok, and all those other social media sites by searching Larry Steinhouse. I'm hoping you guys are watching today because I'm back from an illness of a full week. I had no voice at all, and you can hear it's a little bit scratchy. All right, just a reminder, if you're watching online, hit that like button, hit that share button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook. And you can comment live during the show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And please say hi so I know you are watching. First person to say hi this morning was Michael. Hey, Michael, thank you so much. By the way, if you're commenting from a group and it's not the Money Chat Now fan page, your name will not show up on my dashboard. So please go to the Money Chat Now page and comment there so I can recognize you. Money Chat Now is brought to you by Investor Schooling, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday night, that's tomorrow night, by going to investorschooling.com, and there you will learn about real estate investing and stock options trading from those who do it every day. All right, a couple other people joining us. We got Mick and we got Mark, and a couple of people saying, hey, I hope you're feeling better. And I'm getting there. All right, let's talk. So far today, we're going to be talking about the recap of yesterday and a little bit of the week as well. And then I'm going to get into a special edition about Roe versus Wade, and then, of course, today's picks and plays. All right, let's talk about what happened here. You know, I don't usually take off when I'm sick, and you can be sure that I was beat up this week. I'm still not all that well at the moment either, and I got to get back on the air before you guys forget about me. I got to tell you, my producer Mike did a great job of setting up the best ofs, but we never really planned for me to be out so many days in a row. But I hope you enjoyed some of them. Anyway, lots of stuff happened this past week, including a good forward-looking earnings report from Carnival Cruise Lines. My stock went up a bit, and yesterday when it hit 11, I actually sold some covered calls just to lock in a profit. It was a nice $11,000 profit for me, so it was a really nice play. Yesterday we saw the Dow start off strong, but then it all collapsed to close down a whopping 491 points. The S&P also closed down 78, and the NASDAQ closed down 343 points. So what's going on? Well, honestly, nothing. Earnings season starts in about 3 weeks, and that usually kicks off the market into high gear. And I got to tell you that now is the time to start buying up for the opportunity to make some profits during earnings season. So what actually brought the market down? Well, apparently it was the simple fear of a recession once again brought to the attention of investors when a consumer confidence index fell to an index reading of 98.7, down from 103.2 in May, missing the estimate of 100. Big deal, right? It's like, I'll tell you, a bunch of Wall Street, oh my goodness, it's going to be a recession. They're all crazy. All right, here's how the Consumer Confidence Index is measured, in case you didn't know. Each month, the Conference Board surveys 5,000 U.S. households. The questions asked are about their feelings on subjects like current business conditions, employment conditions, and how they feel about the near future of 6 months, in the near future, which is about 6 months of these conditions. They tally up the answers, and they measure them on a scale, and they come up with an average. The average number is compared to a time specifically in the year 1985. That's right, the year 1985. If the number is below 100, then it is interpreted to be less confident than people were in 1985. If it's higher than 100, excuse me, then it is interpreted that people are more confident than they were in 1985. Well, all together now, who cares about comparing to 1985? Have I told you, my viewer is smarter than the average person on Wall Street? Really, compared to 1985, why not compare it to 2008? Then all the numbers will always be 100. By the way, 2008, the Consumer Confidence Index number was 38. And just remember that yesterday's report came in at 98.7. And just so you know, during the time of Trump's presidency, the index was almost 140. And in March 2020, it was around 87. So what? Basically, just so you know, the number seems to predict employment or unemployment numbers. So consumers are beginning to get nervous, but they aren't convinced that a full-blown recession is on the horizon. And honestly, neither do I. And not yet anyway. All right. Now, what does that all mean? Keep on moving forward and keep on preparing for the future. A notable movie yesterday was Trip.com. The stock finished up about 11%. And look, this to me is just another indicator that travel stocks will start moving up, and there's still a play. All right, let's take a quick look at the market. We're going to take a look at the Dow right now. The Dow is actually, it was down lower. It's down about 6. The S&P is down about 2, and the Nasdaq is actually moving positive again. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take an early break here, and when we get back, I'm going to be discussing my thoughts and many facts about the Roe versus Wade decision. This is definitely something you want to watch and definitely something you want to pay attention to. And by the way, before I go, I also want to remind you that we are meeting tonight at the Temperance House in Newtown. So if you want to get together, have some drinks, have some appetizers, we'll be there at 5:30. Come out and see us there. Now take a look at this.
Okay, so you thought about buying and selling real estate. You've thought about investing in the stock market, but don't know where to start. Well, what if you could find a place to unlock strategies to master both real estate and the stock market, all without the headache? That place is Investor Schooling, hosted by Larry Steinhouse, an expert in real estate, financial literacy, and the ins and outs of the stock market. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate, and you will learn mastery of stock techniques such as options and covered calls. You will even get a chance to ask one of your burning questions to the stock options sultan, the master of picks and plays. Call 866-424-2829 for free information and receive a complimentary pass to attend classes, or register online at investorschooling.com. Don't delay. These passes are limited. So what are you waiting for? Call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. Or visit investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. And of course, if you'd like more information on investor schooling, you can go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. Hey, I want to thank you all for listening on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. And of course, if you're watching online, please hit that share button so you can help your friends learn about how to make more money. Hit that like button. Let me know you enjoy the show. And of course, you can also leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and I'll try to respond to them live. Real quick, a couple of people saying hi. Oh, boy, a whole bunch of people. Thank you all. We got, it looks like Nikki and Moshe and Deb and my lovely wife, Linda. Thank you so much. She took good care of me this week. We have Glenn, and we have Seth, my brother, and we have Matthew and Tom and Bill. Thanks so much for watching. I always appreciate you guys. All right. Look, I also want to remind you before we get started tonight, before we get started, that tonight we're going to have a meeting at the Temperance House, and look, it'll be fun. We'll have some drinks, some appetizers. Every time we go, we have a blast. And the Temperance House is located at the heart of Newtown at 5 South State Street, and we'll be there at 5:30. Come out and see us. All right, so far, of course, we've been discussing the yesterday's recap, and right now the Dow is, as you know, the Dow is up actually 5 points. That's pretty good. The S&P is down 11, and the Nasdaq 11.11 actually, and the Nasdaq is up 15. So it's actually starting to move forward. All right, coming up in this segment, we basically are going to have a special about the Roe versus Wade decision, and of course today's picks and plays. But you guys hit that like button, hit the share button right now. Hit the share button so everyone can listen to this. It's going to be great. All right, and also if you're listening on WWDB Radio, be sure and set a preset to this station and listen every day at 7:30. Also, look up Money Chat Now on Facebook when you get home, and let me know what you think of the show. And of course, before we start the second half, come on, guys, order my book. I noticed that some of you have ordered it, and I really appreciate it. I love the comments. Thank you so much. Go to wherever fine books are sold. Look for Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse, and you can get it on Kindle or Nook right now. And the physical book will be here in about 2 weeks, so that'd be great. So go order it right now. All right, let's get into the second half, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on. All right, being that I was sick for a whole 8 days, I missed reporting on some of the hottest topics of this century, and of course the hottest topic is that of the Roe versus Wade reversal in the Supreme Court. Now look, there are many places to go with this story, and I'm going to cover some of the highlights on my feelings on abortion and my feelings on the crazy people who think abortion is a good idea. Let's just start here though. When I was younger, about 9 years old, the case of Roe versus Wade was heard by the Supreme Court. The idea of the case was simply this. A woman, whose real name, by the way, was Norma Corvey, wanted an abortion. She lived in a state where abortions were illegal except where it would be a life-saving procedure for the mother to abort the child. So she hired a good lawyer to defend her right for an abortion, and when she filed the case against Henry Wade, who was the district attorney of Dallas County at the time. Now, Jane Roe, which, by the way, was the fictional name, instead of Jane Doe, they used Jane Roe. I guess they wanted to do it to make sure that in history you didn't think it was just Jane Doe. But Jane Roe was a fictional name used to hide the name of Norma McCorvey, and in such a case, the name of the case, as you know it, was Roe versus Wade. Her lawyer, and by the way, I love lawyers who think outside the box. No matter no matter what the case is that they're working on, I really like lawyers who work outside the box. But he made a case for the 14th Amendment, specifically stated, "Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." So basically, he used this by saying if she spoke with her doctor and she wanted to have an abortion, it was a private conversation and no one should know about it or the outcome. Sort of sounds like what HIPAA was to me, and it sort of sounds like the reason we should not be asked for a vaccine card either. But back to the story. So basically, the case rode on the idea that if a woman goes to a doctor and says this is a life-saving procedure and the doctor agreed, an abortion would be legal and the doctor would not have to worry about criminal prosecution. So basically, the concept of the decision was really about being a doctor and being able to lie and not have consequences for the doctor or the patient. So now it was cleared by the Supreme Court, and 50 years of open-end abortions were basically legalized. By the way, for those who don't know, Norma McCorvey gave birth to the perfectly healthy baby girl and gave it up for adoption. McCorvey also became a pro-life advocate as time went by. So now you know the story. Basically, it's about a lawyer with a smart defense who tried to make a name for himself by taking this to the Supreme Court and winning based on a shoestring of a leap by using the 14th Amendment. By the way, there were no mentions of the lawyer's name anywhere that I could quickly find, so it didn't work anyway. All right, what it did do, however, was murder approximately 600,000 babies per year, or about 30 million humans in 50 years of rampant abortion law abuse. 30 million. Wow, and they said 6 million Jews killed by Hitler was a Holocaust. 30 million. Remember when I started this story about me being 9 years old when Roe versus Wade was heard? Well, I didn't understand it then, but I remembered my teachers talking about the fact that what was inside a woman who was pregnant was simply a lump of cells. I didn't know it at the time, but I was clearly being indoctrinated. I can only imagine what's being taught in the classroom this week. Ugh. The teachers spewing their political views on how the women have lost their rights. Damn, we need to sue the teachers. But first, let's take a real look at pregnancy. Look, we all know the mechanics of pregnancy. You know, a little friction and then a squirt. After that, the sperm meets the egg and the magic begins. Scientists, as you know, these people who still think math works, have broken pregnancy into 3 trimesters. Look, the first trimester is the one that's mostly in question here. Most abortion laws allow mothers, can I still say mothers, or is it now the birthing person? I guess I'm going to stay old school. Most abortion laws allowed mothers to have an abortion up until the end of the first trimester. But let's talk about the first trimester. So after the squirt comes conception. The egg and sperm have become what's called a zygote. It is now 16 cells. It splits and becomes 16 cells. Now, this basically could be the reference of lump of cells that people referred to. Next, by the way, that's within a day. Next, after 7 days, the zygote finds a comfy spot in the uterus and burrows itself into the uterus to grow. At this point, the developing baby is tinier than a grain of salt. The rapidly dividing cells are in the process of forming the various body systems, including the digestive system. 4 weeks after conception, the baby is now known as an embryo. It is around 3 millimeters in length, and in 3 weeks from then, the heart is already beating. Now it has been a total of 5 to 6 weeks from contraception. Even the evilest liberal must understand that this is now a real human being inside another human being. It has a heartbeat. But let's continue. The next week, the eyes, the mouth, the tongue are forming. The tiny muscles allow the embryo to start moving around the womb, and mommy might even notice the movement. The next week, the embryo is now known as a fetus, and it is about 2.5 centimeters in length. All of the bodily organs are formed. The hands, the feet, which previously looked like numbs or paddles, are now evolving fingers and toes. The brain is active and has brain waves. This is 4 weeks before the end of the first trimester. Brain waves. Did you ever hear of somebody pulling the plug on an adult who had no more brain waves because the doctor said they're technically dead? Well, this embryo is scientifically alive in every way. If the plug was pulled on a human with brain waves and a beating heart, it would be considered murder. The next week, the fingers and toes are recognizable, and the classic shape of the baby is formed. So if anyone says it isn't murder, make sure you explain to them that it is definitely murder. In the next 2 weeks, it starts sucking its thumb and technically can cry because it has vocal cords. This is the end of the first trimester. Of course, at the end of the 9-month journey, we all know what joy the baby brings when it sees the light of the day for the first time, and if you haven't experienced this yet, you'll never forget it when you do. Now let's fast forward to last week's ruling and the law involved in the ruling and why Roe versus Wade should have never stood the legal test of the United States Constitution. There is something called unenumerated rights in the Constitution, specifically in the 9th Amendment. This was written to be sure that the rights that were not thought out and not written in the Bill of Rights would not be construed as rights taken away. Basically, it stated that just because we didn't mention it, you still have the right to do something. It reads like this: the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So what does that mean exactly? It means that the federal government doesn't own the rights that are not listed in the Constitution. Instead, they belong to the people. Now, this also gets confusing. So does it mean that people have the right to do anything someone wants to do? Technically, it is their right. So if you wanted to rob a store, and it isn't mentioned in the Bill of Rights that robbing a store is illegal, then I have the right to rob the store. Well, yes, it does mean that, but let's talk about that's where laws come from. Laws that are set by each state for punishment of those crimes. In fact, the 12th article of the Bill of Rights says that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. This basically means that enumerated rights, all the rights not mentioned in the Constitution, are governed by the states and the governors of those states. This ruling is the ruling that overturned Roe versus Wade, and it might be political to me, but the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were actually saved by the overturning of Roe versus Wade. They were completely unconstitutional, Roe versus Wade, and it made absolutely no sense. The Constitution, which had been losing its power for many years, is finally back and being observed. The Constitution that was also saved this past week when the football coach, Joseph Kennedy, who until 2015 served as a part-time assistant football coach in the city of Bremerton before he was fired for praying on the football field before and after games. This guy was fired because he was praying. I mean, cut me a break, right? The Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Also, the Supreme Court struck down a New York handgun licensing law that required New Yorkers who want to carry a handgun. And, they said that before, and if they wanted to carry a handgun, they had to show a special need to defend themselves. First of all, they already have a special need to defend themselves. They live in New York. But that's beside the point. The First Amendment and the Second Amendment live on again. All right, on another note, now be careful, the overturning of Roe versus Wade may also be legal precedent to overturn, and by the way, it should overturn the right to gay marriage for the United States. All right, now be careful because I want you to understand what I just said, and I want to understand what I believe. Although I'm okay with gay marriage, after all, shouldn't everyone have the right to suffer through marriage, gay or not? Oh, sorry, honey, I kind of thought that was a funny joke. But it's not a constitutional amendment, and each state should have the enumerated right to decide. I kind of hope that they all decide to continue with it, but it should not be a constitutional amendment that allows gay rights. It should be simply state to state. All right, I want to thank you, Donald Trump, for bringing in real Americans who understood the Constitution as it was written, not as it was bypassed by liberals with an agenda. Let's take a break here while I drink to the Constitution, my tea, while I drink to the Constitution of the United States. I will see you guys in a minute. Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is Because Everything You Think You Know About Money is Wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it. All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. By the way, did you guys order the book yet? Come on, what are you waiting for? Go to barnesandnoble.com, look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse, and order it right now. All right, let's talk real quick about the Dow. Actually, the Dow's been moving up. I guess the Dow liked my last presentation. The Dow is up 21, the S&P is up 2, and the NASDAQ is up 22. Hey, we talked about the whole fact, and I just went into this whole thing about Roe versus Wade. And it's funny, I made that joke, and sure enough, my wife said, it's not funny. I'm sorry, honey, will you still feed me tonight? All right. Anyway, we also have coming up, we have, of course, today's picks and plays. But first, did you guys hit that like button? Did you guys hit that share button? Let everybody know what great stock plays are coming by sharing this information. Lots of good information coming up. You can share on your page or in groups that you feel will benefit from the great stock plays. And, of course, you can leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube. Hey, please let me know what you thought about that last segment. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on it. I find this very funny. Michael said, Biden's brain is dead. Should we pull the plug? Actually, according to what I can see, I believe that the fetus has a smarter brain than Biden. But anyway, all right. Also, if you're listening on WWDB Radio, set one of your presets to this channel and listen every day at 7:30 for all you need to know about the politics behind the stock market. And you will definitely enjoy this show. All right, let's talk about today and what's going to go on. All right, so far it looks like kind of a flat day. Nothing really much happening. I'm going to suggest some buys here as we head into the 4th of July weekend and also as we head into earnings season. Look, I'm going to tell you, Meta and Apple are always exciting plays into earnings. However, you got to be a little bit careful. These stocks, like most, have returned to the 2019 levels and should play like they were 2019. Meta is trading at about 161 right now, and it'll probably go no higher than 180. I like it when it dips into the 150s. 150 anything, 156, 7, 8, 9, doesn't matter. But the closer to 150, the more I like it. If it goes below 155, I would definitely play it. However, if you're playing the option, they're a bit pricey, so you need to get in and out quickly. I would not go more than one earnings period because it's going to be so pricey. But I'd also be cautious considering the price of the option. By the way, Apple is a bit better. However, it still has another 50% down to reach the levels of 2019. Could it be a put play? I got to tell you, leaning towards it. It probably is a put play. Maybe, but, I'm also, I also would wait until earnings are announced first. I've noticed that when Apple moves down hard, like it did yesterday, it usually recovers quickly. Look, I don't see the stock going over 150 for quite a while, and it may hover in the 135 to 145 range before moving down, and then I would expect it's going to eventually go below 100 within 6 months. I see Carnival is disappointing me again. It was a great day yesterday, but it was a good thing I sold those covered calls yesterday because it's down almost 0.75 of a point pre-market with no news that I could see to drive it down. So it's going to be another scary ride. But I have mostly stock now, so I could just wait it out. The oil stocks have started to climb down. They started to climb down, but today they're up a little bit. But that was to be expected. The play was 6 months ago. And honestly, now the holders of the stock are selling it to keep whatever profits they may have gained before it's too late. It's typical steak and tuna time as something that I explain in investor schooling. So this is something you want to learn. You want to learn a little bit about steak and tuna theory. It's something that we teach in investor schooling. I think you'll really appreciate it if you do anything in the stock market at all, or if you want to learn anything about the stock market at all, because it's very good theory. It makes a lot of sense. All right, let's take a look at the Dow futures and see what's going on right now. Look at that. They're popping up. The Dow is now up 55, the S&P is up 7, and the NASDAQ is up 40. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good change. I like the idea. So Bitcoin is still right around 20,000. And look, I don't know. I keep saying it might hit 28, but I'm not even sure anymore. But it's going to drop below 20,000. And I'm going to tell you that it's probably going to drop to about 12,000 as the next stop. And then the next stop after that is going to be 7,000. The question is really when and how long it's going to take to get there and what's going to happen after 7,000. Because I don't see this being the asset that it was supposed to be, and that's the problem. Ethereum, same thing, I believe it's right around 1,000 right now. And, I expect it, like I said before, I expect this to go to around 600 shortly. So it's not a great play either. I'm just not a fan of crypto. I haven't been. I did make a couple of bucks on it just for fun. But I got to tell you that I've never been a fan of it. Look, the people who made the money got lucky. Remember, the hoodlers, all you hoodlers out there, remember that the people who had it didn't know what it was when they bought it. You think you know what it is. It's not what it is. All right, gold and silver gold is around 1820, and silver moved to about 20.8, so still not great. The Treasury bond are below 3.25, and they may help the market, but we'll have to see. Oil has been hovering around 110 to 113 a barrel, and the average gas price moved down to 4.86 per gallon. Hey, let's get excited and say, let's go, Brandon. I want to remind you all that we're going to be meeting tonight at the Temperance House. So if you guys are anywhere near here, near Newtown or you're in Bucks County, we're going to be meeting in Newtown for drinks and appetizers. I tell you, it's a lot of fun. We just hang out, we talk, whatever. We talk about anything. We talk about real estate. We talk about politics. Anything you really want, we can talk about. So go to the Temperance House. It's located in the heart of Newtown at 5 South State Street. And we'll be there at 5:30 to maybe about 7:30. So come out and see us there. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Of course, I want to thank all the listeners on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. I want to thank you for your continued support. And if you're enjoying the show, please reach out and let us know. Yes, I am the host of Money Chat Now, and I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. Hey, remember, you can contact me directly if you'd like at contactlarry.com. That's right, it's contactlarry.com, real simple website. By the way, as you know, from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in this show, and the opinions discussed in this show is solely mine, and no one has asked me to discuss them. Hey, don't forget to come out tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. Come out. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to the Temperance House in Newtown. Have a blast. Hey, Michael, thanks for welcoming me back. I totally appreciate it, and I made it through without my voice even going away. It's a little weird sounding. I can hear it weird in the headphones. Anyway, make it a profitable day.